ሰላም ራይዝ አዲስ ቤተሰብ ህይወቴ ደሳለኝ እባላለሁ your host የዛሬ እንግዳዬ ከሩቅ ቦታ የመጣ እንግዳ ነው ከእስራኤል ነው የመጣው ሚካኤል አለሙ ጎርስኪ ይባላል he's an academic researcher and international strategist በሆሎን ኢንስቲትዩት ኦፍ ቴክኖሎጂ እስራኤል በሚገኘው ማለት ነው ሌክቸር እና ሪሰርቸር ነው እና ኤአይ ላይ እና ኤአይ ምን አይነት ኢምፕሊኬሽን እንዳለው እዛ ላይ ፐብሊሽ የሚያደርግ እና የሚያጠና ሰው ነው። ስለዚህ ከእሱ ጋር ያለን ቆይታ እንድትከታተሉ ጋብዛችኋለሁ። Mikhail Alamogorski, thank you so much for being our guest on Rise at this podcast. It's such a pleasure having you here, especially since you're here for a short amount of time. So it's a great thing that we got to schedule this time with you for this interview. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Aren't we all like short time on Earth? So, yeah, nice seeing you.
We only have today, yeah.
And our fate is in the hands of the chemical engineers, I believe. So.
And the data scientists and the researchers.
Yeah, so our life is short, but let's make most of it.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy to have. So I covered a bit of your background on my opening, but I want to know from your side, how did you get into this line of work? How did you become a strategist, an academic researcher? How did that happen?
Oh, that is simple. You grew up, you do what you want to do most, and that was for me like programming. So then computer science was natural, and then thank God communism ended in the Soviet Union and market economy started, so it was quite natural thing to do, to go from the algorithms to logic of how people work, how like systems work, etc. And that's what we did for almost like 20 years, me and my partner, building quite large structure doing that, and everything else followed. Like even the AI work that I'm so much engaged today is coming from what I did in the university, and so it's like most engineering stuff whole life, like engineering how companies are working, engineering how like huge, like I believe my largest client for the strategy, they had like 350,000 employees, so it's fun to engineer like that big things, and everything else, so it probably was like kind of logical, like in retrospect.
Okay, so what I'm very curious about is what it was like growing up in Russia during communism and after communism has fallen, because I mean, for a lot of us, Russia is like a very secretive and a very shadowy country. So for you, being raised there, what was it like, especially as you grew up and became an adult? You saw a shift in, like you said, in the economy of knowledge just completely shifted. So if you can just talk about that a little bit.
Again, that's well, first of all, like when you're small, everything that's around you seems to be normal, and that's like how I feel like my kids are raised in Israel. When we have the sirens and we go to shelter when rockets are flying, but for my like 11-year-old, it's kind of normal. That's
like a game.
Only life. No, I don't. I'm not sure about it. I haven't spoken to Ilyusha a lot about this, but like that is something that is all his life is with that. Like in kindergarten, they had these drills. In the school, they have the drills. So kind of normal. So when you live in the extremely totalitarian country today, probably should go to North Korea to experience like that level of like mind control, of everything control, of amount of lies that they take you like on history lessons, for example, about your country, and you know that it's all false. That probably has nothing that analogies, nothing that analogous in the other places, but like you grow in that, so for you it's like kind of like your reflexes are to hide everything. For example, like I remember in Moscow subway reading Nabokov and pretty innocuous. Well, Nabokov is this whole Nabokov is innocuous. It's not like calling for revolution or something, but like but Nabokov was not permitted, not allowed. So I had to hide the title of the book with the newspaper,
No.
and to see that no one see what I read. But well, that was kind of like tricks. That's well, when you cross the road, you look to the right, you look to the left.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
you always
like
have to be
this.
careful.
Yeah, and then when like Soviet Union died, obviously it was the best moment of our lives because you have free access to everything. You can learn, you can study everything that you want to study, and obviously it was huge opportunity for like making money or doing business, doing things that you want to do. It's yeah, I believe it's tremendous. A tremendous change, and it was always like made me happy, very happy. I probably like when like in the Soviet Union, when you grow up in Soviet Union in like special circles, maybe groups, I don't know, but for like people around me, it was pretty natural. You are there until you get like to the third year of university, so you get like free Soviet education, and then like either with your family or even alone, you go outside. You have bachelor's degree already. You get to the master's, but you go outside, and there was not much opportunity for that. Like, but I'm Jewish, so like you can do this. There was not allowed for normal people, but there was a story about like uniting the families.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
Okay.
But like it was kind of like it was programmed to go like to other place to go outside. But then like when Soviet Union collapsed, then like wow, capitalism, you don't need to leave the country to go to the free market and to normal life, but you just have to wait and to build it here. And so that's very interesting still, but that's like history lessons. I'm not sure that everyone in your audience will benefit from that, although there's a lot of things we can like talk hours and hours. How the mentality, how the mindset of the nation is determined by this paternalistic totalitarian system. And I see so much of that, like in today Ethiopia, and how people interact with me, and some interactions that I have even like on LinkedIn. When the first comment that I get is usually about what will government think about something, and that is like 2026 Ethiopia, very different, but that would be exactly what people will be thinking in like 1978 Soviet Union, because government was everything. So that's a very interesting conversation, but I'm not sure that is where like your viewers
No,
want
it's
us to
just
go.
it's just to understand, you know, because living in Ethiopia and living in Russia is completely different. So our experience here, I mean, we've gone through ups and downs in our history, especially in a short amount of time. There have been a lot of changes. So, and Russia has had the biggest change of all. But as you said, we can talk about, you know, the main reason why you're here. And it's talk about your work. So currently you're a lecturer and a researcher at Holon Institute of Technology in Israel. And so your work focuses on AI and emerging technologies. So can you just explain to us what that means?
I'd love that anyone will explain that to me, even because we are tackling with my boss, who is head of the School of Computer Science. We are looking at many different things, mostly like how AI impacts the like social contracts. And like for Ilya, Professor Levin, who's my boss, the biggest interest is education. He spent all his life and all his scientific achievements are in education of the people, and how technologies influence education. So that is big part of what we are doing. Another component is I'm looking much because of my history and that I was like doing like business strategies almost all the life. So I'm thinking how that impact businesses. And recently started to think a lot, and I will probably publish on it how it impacts financial industries and banks. And that is some review that some data that I want to collect about how it happens here. For example, in Ethiopia, that interesting focus. But the like AI in society, it's not that much about like how the large language models work, although you have to know that. And we are in a school of computer science, so our students have to have at least better understanding of that like people in general public, because well they're engineers and that is their focus. So like what I'm teaching in the school is how to develop software using AI, and that is not as simple as some people will think. There are a lot of we have like 40 hours and that's not enough to talk about this with students. So those are also interesting to me. And the angle that we might be it might be useful for us to explore is also like how everything like AI related influences the startups, and what is going on in the heads of the startups when they think about AI and they try to like put AI into everything they do. And that's like the phenomenon of like AI in Jera is something that I would be happy to talk about.
Okay. So yeah, since we are a podcast focused on startups, and you told me that off camera that you did a presentation on wait, I had the title on the hard truths about AI and startups recently at ALX back in February. What are the hard truths that most startups don't understand about AI? As you mentioned AI in Jera, is that like an artificially intelligent in Jera? Like, I'm trying to understand these things because we talk about AI, like everybody uses AI, everybody talks about AI. AI has infiltrated every possible sector of the world. So, what are the hard truths that you consider about AI?
Yeah, let me start with the preamble that every time I see like in Addis, that's most of the places in Ethiopia that have experience with, young people doing the work as developers or like startups gathering together, or like the podcast initiatives. I see a lot of young people with the bright eyes and with a lot of energy, and I have huge respect for that. And I believe that if I can help with that, if I can help with like uh, explaining a little bit how best to approach things, what is the best way, how not to lose time and how not to do stupid things. That is something that I feel that would be very good to do, and I feel a little bit on a mission to do that. I hope it doesn't sound like too quirky, but that like since quite sincere, because yeah, I really see like a lot of people who have energy and interest, and just sad to see them not doing things in the best way, in not optimal way, or like losing focus on stuff. So AI in Jera is simple. It's exactly what you said. It's trying to put AI on top of anything that moves, and that is um, sometimes it works. Sometimes it brings people millions of dollars in investments. Sometimes it helps people to land jobs. If you go to if you are just walking dogs, but you say that I am AI walking dogs, maybe it will improve your chances for getting job or for getting the dogs to walk. I don't know. It's a case. A lot of investment companies will look to the next buzzword when they make the decisions,
Yeah.
and a lot of customers, a lot of like corporate customers, might also be in a position when just the IT director for the bank just need to buy something AI. So his boss will not ask him like, why we haven't bought anything AI yet. I heard of it. I read about this in the newspaper, like when I was flying. A lot in my consulting practice, a lot of customers came to me. Oh, our shareholder was flying on his personal plane and just reading newspaper. So he found like your article about strategy management, and he asked me to call you. Now every newspaper is about AI. So bosses owner shareholder is getting and like is getting to the office and then talks to the IT director about like what do we do in AI. So maybe they will buy like AI in Jera, but doing that is bad because not everything need AI in
Yeah,
it.
because if it doesn't help the process
Absolutely.
become more efficient or help the customers get better access to information, like customer service, or yeah, if it doesn't help the process, then it's just a flashy label, like, oh, we are now AI powered.
It's absolutely, and that's not well. And my experience is that any distraction from the where you should be focused on, any distraction is bad. It's just like you spending your resources, and also in part it's like lying to your customer because you present this AI component as value, and if it's not, then kind of like not nice. You don't want to be in this position. But you are completely right in the very beginning, because that is the major thing actually. Like, is the AI component helps you to serve your mission, if that is what you need to do for all the things that you need to do. And also, does it save money to your customer? Is your product better because of that? And if it's cheaper, because it's, well, we live in the real world. And many startups don't realize, at least immediately, that including any, we call it I would say that there's a book on that called, there is a term of cognification, like making things smarter, making processes smarter. Absolutely, you can put like the large language model, that is what powers like ChatGPT and like other things. The engine of those is called large language model. If you put large language model into most of the business processes, those will become smarter. You may want like your, I don't know, like notepad on your phone to also think about like the topics that you want to discuss with it. So you will like cognify your notes application. The thing is, it costs money. Every like word, every word, like every token costs money. And also like adds delays, but like also cost money. So is economics there? Like, did you thought of how much you will spend more? And also, like for many businesses, it is new business, new cost model, and new structure. When, like, if your customer would love to talk to your notes application and will use it more and more, then the price can easily overcome, like, for example, you do subscription price, so you have like fixed amount. And with the cognification, it will become like expandable to. So the economics of the AI-enabled businesses are different, very different. And if some small startup in Addis will not think of it, it's no surprise. Even biggest companies in the world have that issue, because like coming from the subscription to the use-based is a big deal, and many customers are not ready for that. So for companies, even for largest companies, it's still like a challenge. But so economics of these projects, of this companies, these startup ideas, can be sometimes very, very questionable. And that is big thing a very big thing to think of. Very important, I believe. Other things will be like how unique will your proposition became because you added like AI? Did it help? Like, for example, I would have like a lot of conversation if if I'll be like on investment committee of the fund and somebody will come to me with the idea of like the cognified notes application for the phone. I would really need to see what's the value there. Is it unique? Many things around it. I have a long list. Feel free to interrupt.
Go ahead.
And come.
'Cause
Well, not that
I'm
long,
very engaged
but
in this, so I just if I'm not saying much, it's because I'm like,
yeah, I'm just happy
Yeah.
for us to be interactive. Yeah, and the other thing is so-called like bulldozer effect. You may some people may remember how Sam Altman, head of the OpenAI, 2 years ago was talking about the development of the ChatGPT and the products that they do. And he was quite emotional at the moment, saying that if you, talking to like startup founders or like people with companies having new ideas, if you want to do something around our models, when you are like compensating for their like lack of like some skills. So simple. If GPT 4.1 is a little bit stupid and need to have some algorithmic addition or something. So if your business is assuming that large language models will be at that level of smarts that they are today, then what he said, we will bulldoze you, meaning that all money, all energy, all billions of dollars of OpenAI went into making the models smarter and smarter and more capable and more capable. So if your business is on the same way, if you're like artificially making these models smarter by maybe adding some software to that, then you will be bulldozed over when they will release like GPT-6, because GPT-6 will be so much smarter than everything that you do will be just history. And there are a lot of examples of that. And the biggest one is, if you will look to the publications about AI, kind of like 3 years ago, the big topic was how we get the data, like if we have a long document to be analyzed, then, and this document does not fit into the thing called context window. Context window of the large language model is like how many words it can process, like how big is capacity of the mind of the model. So it can process, say, 8,000. Like when they launched, it was 2,000 symbols. 2,000 symbols is not much.
It's
so like 400 words.
Yeah.
So at that moment, the model was able to think over the sentence of 400 words. And that sentence should also include your question to the model. So you're saying that this is the information that I give to you, and this is the question that I have to you. And then it will respond to you. So a lot of research, a lot of work went into how we, if the document is much bigger, how we take one part of the document and put into the prompt. Then we take another part and put. So there was like artificial things around the current capabilities of the models. Today, when the model has not 2,000 tokens, but 1 million tokens, most of these technologies do not make any sense whatsoever. So if all your business was built around the limitations of the current models, new models will make your business obsolete. That is the bulldozing thing. So the models will be smarter and smarter and smarter, and most of the professionals in the AI world think that the models will be smarter and smarter and smarter. One of the things, for example, one of the limitations that everybody was talking about a year ago was models cannot work autonomously because models are bad in planning. That was, the models will never write good software because they cannot create good plan of doing this work. 12 months. Models today have excellent planning capabilities.
Okay.
They do it perfectly. They write big, detailed plans. Then they read those plans, again, because like they have 1 million token windows, so they can have these plans, build these big, long plans. They can now use those plans and act on those. So just like 1 year, and the capacity and the smarts of the models changed so much that any business that was built around like how bad it is, it's like very simple analogy, of course, is like human beings. If if you only research humans who are like 5 months old, you will build big business around like helping these 5 months old humans survive in the world.
Yeah.
And you will be surprised to find that when these human beings get to like 15-year-old, they have different capacities.
They can navigate them.
Yeah, they can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
They can walk, they can run.
Yeah.
So there are many more
They can
things.
speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is what a lot of startups, a lot of companies died because they were like working for this like 5 months old models. So that's big thing. It's important thing. Another one that I was thinking and talking a lot to that audience of in this startup event in Alex was building the product is hard. It's just very hard job. You have to create the product that is supported. You have to understand your customer. You have to listen to your customer. You have to embed the feedback. You cannot just produce the thing and say that this is my product. There are so many things around it. You need to be able to understand how fast you change it. Do you have resources to change it very fast? Maybe like people will not buy it like from this very first second. Maybe like not 1,000 people will buy it, but 5 people will buy it. And if you not update it, then your product will have very bad reputation of not update from like your early customers. You have to think about the life cycle of the product. You have to think about what product is. So like, and most of these things most of those issues will not be solved with AI. ChatGPT will not help you like to build ChatGPT can write your processes, but it cannot do it on your behalf.
Exactly.
So there are many things around like just building good products, and those are very, very hard things. That's why very hard to give like very generic advice, but at times it makes sense to go to work for big company and understand a little bit how this company thinks about the products, how they maintain the products, how they develop the products before you start doing that. Well, obviously there are
because
like
AI cannot replace the human process. The work that you do on the ground, the work that you do to understand your market, your customers, your product, what needs to be improved, because that's all part of what you feed into AI.
First of all, the biggest like thing will be if you want to be successful, then you have to be unique. If like AI is not giving you like unique advice.
No, it's not.
It will give the same advice to the like another person. So if you have like your unique like insight, if you have your unique need, if you have like your pain that you feel, and like some other people of course pain, because you are not solving only your pain, but if you have like a unique view at those things, it will be it's very important. But so AI cannot replace you in thinking of ideas, but also AI cannot replace your discipline. AI cannot cannot work on your behalf. It's you who have to understand that you are working 24 hours a day and you don't have any life at all. I'm talking to in the same time when I was in February, I spoke to the students at the Bajajs University and also in the Addis University in the central one, and I told them that guys, the students who are in the software development. And I told them that, gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, the people who are in the position that they will soon be bachelors of the software development, have two options, and that's you're free to decide. One option is to study how AI can be working for you when you build the programs. And the second option is die of hunger. There is, it's no pressure at all, no pressure at all. You may choose to die, but nobody will pay a cent to the person, junior programmer, who is not using AI to the maximum, because like Claude Code is good at writing like okay code. It's faster and it's cheaper than any developer alive. No, unless you want to get salary of like $195, then it will be $5 cheaper than Claude Code. But maybe that's not what you want. So the developer should be like running those things.
Yeah.
So my explanation to them was like, yeah, that's very, very, very simple alternative. And I'd also told them that, but in order to learn everything about how to command those like large language models to do work for you and to develop software for you, because this is actually the, I would say, the only area where AI is already like arrived. That is already working, it's working perfectly, and you just have to master it. But to master it will probably take 24 hours of the day. So what I told to the students is like year 2026 is year when you have no sex, no life, nothing. You sleep very little.
How
so
to
yeah.
how to do the AI
In
for
that
software
case,
development.
like in 2027 or maybe 28, you can start doing all that stuff. But like this year, learn, study everything, because the only chance to get in front of other people is just to put more and more time. And that's what's kind of generic, like any motivational speaker will tell you this, but just feel it. It's really something. They cannot like lose that. So yeah, the same thing is like, yeah, 2026 is year without sex. For that's like my big message to people. I probably like put some posters on the street also. Yeah, I'll think about it. Yeah, and the same actually comes to the most like entrepreneurship stuff. If you want to do your startup until the moment when it will finally work, yeah, that's bad news. Like no sex, guys, and no free time. So that's, and yeah, I think that will cover like most of key things that I feel important in the context of startups and AI development. But the biggest is just avoid AI in Jera. Do not put AI on everything, because people buy things without AI still. It's well, a lot of businesses prosper without that. There are not that many areas where AI will do miracles, will create like this, the miracle. Sometimes like AI can bring this, and that is good when you're selling things. You just create something that was never, ever possible. I just experienced that at some business meeting recently when I just came with some idea that is easy to implement with the large language models. And I see that for the people who I talked to, it felt like, wow, that's fantastic. But the number of such areas are not that big, and you may have good business just like not with large language models. There's another AI as well, like data science, machine learning, that's more like predictable. But yeah, that would be what I think that the most important to talk about to people.
Okay. And how were these ideas received when you shared it with the ALX people, the students from Bajajs University? I mean, did they seem to be aware of these things, or was it completely new to them? Because I kind of want to see, compared to compared to the expertise that you have, and what they know or what they have learned? What's the gap in the middle?
Very good question. I'm trying to see whether I know any technology that can get any feedback from the group of Ethiopian students, and I believe I don't.
Okay.
My father told me many years ago that there is saying in Africa, speak Ethiopian, and that is like when people are saying a lot of things around and never directly
Yeah, yeah,
approach the
yeah.
point. And also like people are so people when people see somebody like that old and ugly telling them something, they probably don't want to hurt that person for many reasons. I don't know why. So I hope it's humanism. I hope it's because love of to the people. But usually the feedback that I get is just like dead silence. And I'm always begging, like telling guys, you think you are polite, that you are not asking anything because you think you are polite, but that hurts the most. So please, please, please. It doesn't work usually.
Yeah, I had that same experience at Addis Ababa University because I had to give a short lecture and then I was looking around the room. All the faces were like, they were just dead. And I was like, okay, is it because you didn't understand? Is it because I was going too fast? Or is it clear to you? And it's just like still silence. So I was like, okay, well, if you don't have questions, let's move on. Yeah, it's a bit tough to get people's ideas or perceptions of what you just shared. Um, but yeah, at least I hope that it triggered something in their minds because
On the other hand, like the main idea to which I just arrived in our podcast is very easily verifiable. If the call to like no sex in 26 will be heard, we'll have the dip in the new births in the
yeah,
27,
yeah.
and that will kind of be criteria. Did I like change the country? Did I
Yeah, I think
reduce the number of new
if we see the
children?
dip, then
Yeah,
the kids have heard you.
that will be it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
will be it. I
But it's a bit intense. I mean, like, no fun, no sex, no no enjoyment until 2027. Yeah. I mean, good luck to the youth. Yeah.
well, there is some fun in having the islands and the good cars, and I look at the streets of Addis, and
Right?
I
Long-term
don't
rewards. These are long-term rewards. You have to sacrifice now to get these long-term rewards.
not that long.
Yeah.
I know people who did like who bought their island like in a year, so
Yeah.
everything is possible.
Okay.
Everything.
How about your island?
Huh?
Your island? Did you buy it?
Uh, hmm. No, I'm not sure that I was ever in the mood for that. Although that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Thinking about how bad air is in Addis, having an island, and
Mm.
no one ever will burn any incense, and no one ever will burn any fire, and there will be no cars.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
Just bicycles and
Yeah,
boats.
actually, islands with no cars bring very interesting effect. You may know, like near Istanbul, there is an island called Boyokada,
Mm.
and they have no cars there,
Mm.
and you can imagine the smell
It's
because
horses and donkeys, yeah.
they still need to travel.
Yeah, horses and donkeys. Okay, yeah. That's good fertilizer.
Uh, Looking for positive side.
Yeah,
That's for
good
sure.
fertilizer. Even if this air smells bad, it's good fertilizer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, all right. We talked a lot about the hard truths about AI and startups. And speaking of startups, earlier we mentioned the startup proclamation. So, since you're a researcher, you have that academic insights into these things. So, what was your idea about? What was your first impression on the startup proclamation?
Um, I'm not only the well, currently most of things I do is research, but for a long time I spend my days writing like policy documents for the government of Russia, and we did a lot in the field of the innovation development. And also we spent a lot of money of the taxpayers traveling around the world and getting the best knowledge about what's going on and what's working and what's not working. And my feeling after all of those things was that, well, private entrepreneurship cannot be replaced with anything, and the signals from the private markets is also non-replaceable by anything. So looking for the efforts that are done in many countries of Africa in terms of like development of the innovation ecosystem and things around that gives me a feeling that for many people it's easier to just try to do some government initiatives, and that would not that usually that creates the very wrong motivation for people. People are playing to, it's normal. We all play to the performance measures that are given to us. That's a very well-known story that in one American city, the firefighters were getting paid by the number of the fires that they put down, and the number of fires went up, and it was proven that people were like starting some fires, some firefighters that were like not working today were starting fires because it was helping their colleagues to get better better numbers. Yeah. So if you create set of incentives that is artificial, and that will be in every like government supported program, because the major incentive is just money from the investors, and that is how you measure or just improve the quality of life to the people. But as soon as you start to set things of how many startups, how many startup competitions, how many projects started by the graduates of this university, of that university, people start playing to that, and you will see just the pretense. Yeah, and you will see just pretense, so you burn money for all that stuff. So a lot of things in the like government like focused and government first like initiatives are like this. And it's easy to think that, for example, Russia took a lot from Israel on how Israel built its ecosystem, and but it was like misinterpretation of so many things. I know some African countries are thinking about France as the example for this. I would have two issues. First of all, it's impossible to underestimate the level of the free market development and the richness of everything, every player in the free market that exists in France. It's a big developed economy. It has everything. And also, I will just ask, what are results of the France innovation system? I am happy with the many things that the country produces, but is it a pioneer in the innovation economy? I would have some doubts around that. And also, those initiatives, the government-funded initiatives, is things of very old past. We can all say that even the biggest innovation system in the world, and some officials love to say that even the biggest innovation system in the world, that is American, of course, Silicon Valley, was created by the government, because many people will say that this is created because the Ministry of Defense was giving the contracts to the companies created by Stanford and Berkeley graduates, but that was 50s. It was very different era, and things were very different. And still you are talking about the huge market economy where everything is already developed, when the most of the infrastructure is built, when the most of the ecosystem is just the ecosystem of the normal market economy. So you only build some parts because other parts are already supplied. But in most of the government programs that are known to me will have a lot of weak sides.
Okay.
And so I think that startups in Ethiopia could be should be less focused. At least shouldn't be focused. Using that like incentives and everything, maybe, but not like not build your strategy or around like being in these startup competitions. I've been judging the startup competitions for longer than I would love to admit, but it almost always a joke. It almost always something very very strange, and nothing to do with the like investment opportunities for the startups. Nothing that proves that the startup ideas is
Yes,
good.
yeah, that's true because that there's that gap in investment. But I think I don't see it as all bad because there's a side of it where I mean I have had personal friends who have started their own startups. I've had friends of friends who have done the but when we have these chats about what it's like to have a startup in Ethiopia, especially when they're operating here, the issue is that fiscally they don't have a structure that fits into the current tax model because for them to from the time that they started their company to when they reach the market and they get their first customer, etc., etc. There's so much time that has passed in development and in customer outreach that they can't really get to that stage of like, okay, now we have an income, so we can pay taxes. So I think first it was done to find a unique way that they can fit into the tax system without being penalized because a lot of companies, I mean normally companies have to pay taxes. I think by the after the first year they have to pay taxes. So like for them when they have like when it's a business you can do that, but when it's a startup and you have R&D and you have when you're experimenting in a very new market, it's
If I will put like the strategy head, I will tell you that that is excellent example. Most like almost everything that you're saying are like moving us and pushing us into very proper direction. Something that I probably missed when I was talking about this, uh, like the well, I hinted at this, but did not like put it that concisely. Like when countries develop the innovation things and want to develop innovation economy in the functioning free market system, they only have a few models of what is usually in the government like mandated innovation reform. Your example is not actually not about startups. Every company that is starting its business should not be under the condition that you are either you make money in the first year or you're stealing money from the government, so we will do audit over you. So what I'm saying, and actually like this idea of selecting some group and putting this group into the different like tax regime, it is something, and actually like a same story about like special economic zones. It all comes from the communist China, and that is about like we don't make life okay for everybody. We just select few things because actually that is what should be reformed in the tax system for the whole country. Any company without any designation should be in the position that they have as long as they want for like investing in things. And like the tax system should be changed. Like another thing that they had either in startup proclamation or in other document before, that the company could have no like legal address. There was a requirement that you have legal address, that you
yeah,
paid for,
yeah.
that you have office, physical office, but somehow decided, yeah, well, those companies might have just office, but like not physical presence, or like work in some co-working space. So we allow registration of the company that will have just PO box as the address. But why that is not available to all companies? And and all other stuff, actually, like this idea of the business license, when you register the company and they need to find you in a list of 1,500 or something, what is your business, and match you with this. This is
the
not
category.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's called like business license.
Yeah.
That does not exist in most places in the world. That is not how market economy is working. You don't have ministry that is knowing all kind of businesses. It's impossible. It does not work this way. Businesses have like mixed ideas about things.
Yeah, exactly.
It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
So when they will be like releasing this for the like startups, that's not the solution. The solution is just to do a little bit more changes. I can
Add more flexibility, yeah.
Yeah, to just general rules, like just make business easier in a country. It might be politically harder to put it like through the parliament, for example, because you can have like, we're doing this for startups. You people probably don't know it's like very good thing. So for them, we will do this. And people in government might think that we will do it here, then we'll show to the parliament that it's okay, like the world didn't end it. Maybe. I just don't know the whole like calculation. And on the other hand, I think that it's hard to think of like economic development as the task that should be done like in 50 years with the small steps. People will die because of the lack of opportunities because of things were not provided. So I'm not sure. Like any country innovation policies mandated by the government is, to me, problematic. I probably just know too much in that field. I don't see a lot of the successful projects of that. Just like make markets work.
It should.
And when the markets and one of the things that probably you heard a lot about lack of investment and lack of investment funds. But important thing is to like call by name. A lot of people understand this, of course. I'm not the smartest, not by any measure. But the number of exits are also very limited. Exit is when when investor buys the company, investor usually should know how investor will sell this company, because that's how the investors buy their islands. They buy companies, they sell companies. And if there is no market to sell the company, nobody will buy the company. And there could be probably very little market for the buying the companies when the 70% of economy is state-owned enterprises. State-owned enterprises have very little incentive to buy the companies after the like fund invested and developed it. So why startups don't have that much investors? Because investors don't have that much like options to sell those companies later. And you should think about it always, and that will like answer a lot of questions. So to build like a lot of investment funds in Ethiopia, you not only need to like issue the proclamation on investment funds, you just need to create the situation where it's possible, and without it, just not waste time and energy and things. So that is like more about like the development of the market economy as whole will raise also like new companies. Like also startups is, well, it's a good term, but usually like any company that just created is a startup.
It's a startup, yeah.
So, and the thing that I will be also saying is that, and I don't know, I don't think it's something that can be solved and something that can be fixed, or maybe even something that should be fixed. But in the a lot of people who are thinking of the startups in Ethiopia, they have their like context, their like frame of reference is Western world. So they're thinking about some innovations for that will be great. I don't know, New York, but that is not the biggest challenge in Bayardar.
Exactly.
So you may be thinking about much less fancy things. Of course, like AI, mobile first, all lovely and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would be in the position to like direct startups or new companies, I will have like 1,000 companies building the service over the USSD. USSD is
Mm-hmm.
the message exchange with the
Yeah.
cheap phones,
Yeah.
because like 80% of the phones in the country are those cheap phones.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you can do a lot. You can probably do like ChatGPT over USSD. That will be something that where I will be
Oh,
looking
that would be
for, and like the
interesting.
medical assistant over the USSD.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that banks are aware, banks are thinking, because well, for them
I
that's
mean,
real
banks
money.
do
Yeah,
USSD, so.
but for like fancy people who graduated and have bachelors from the University of Texas and coming back to the country, and that's commendable. I have enormous respect for young people who come back to the country, uh, and that's wonderful. But the terms, but your frame should shift. Go to Bayardar, go to like smaller villages,
Mm-hmm.
talk to people, listen to their pains, and look at the resources that are available to them. Still, some people will not pay for internet because it's
Mm-hmm.
expensive.
And they
It
don't
was
even have coverage, even.
Some people will not have coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Most people will have coverage,
Mm-hmm.
actually. Most of people have coverage. Probably Ethio Telecom should be more transparent about like what is their coverage, but you can get some information like this. Anyway, just like look less for fancy things,
Mm-hmm.
but more for things that will solve pain.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's probably the biggest they can be thinking of.
And it's a huge market because I think outside of Addis Ababa, it's hundreds of millions of people that need that need these services, but just because of localization, for example, language or technology access issues, they're just forgotten from the mass demographic.
Yeah, I believe that you used very well. You haven't like finished the full sentence, but what I will hear is like, and the way how I will frame it will be not like people are forgotten, but by something. No, startup people, they are
Mm.
forgetting about the key audiences.
Mm.
It's very, I think it's important to put like the spotlight on people who should be thinking about it. Maybe other people also, and also thinking about the financial models, like business models. People poor, they don't have enough. Maybe still they have like 10 birr for
Mm.
this. Maybe you can prove value and you can easily explain value, and you can like build the communication properly that will explain value to people. Many things are different in a country, and there are a lot of country specifics, and you have to think about it. When I hear, for example, it's very different. It's not that much less high tech,
Mm.
although it's still technology. I'm thinking about, I hear a lot about Bajajs
Mm.
that should be on electric drive. I love that idea. But the most people do the simplest way.
Mm.
They just put the battery and electric motor into a Bajaj.
Mm.
What I am thinking always, that if you will have like swappable batteries like they have in the electric bikes,
Mm.
it will be different. It will be much better solution, because imagine like the village again near Bayardar. My
Mm.
family is from Bayardar,
Okay.
so for me it's like I've been there often and I probably understand this. So look at think about the village in Bayardar, or even like outskirts of Bayardar, where most of Bajaj drivers probably live. Do they have good electricity?
Mm.
Can they recharge the big battery?
Mm.
Or it make more sense to have like the two like charging stations with like solar or something in the
Mm.
very center, where at least there is some electricity and very regularly, so you can recharge like small battery. And usually like Bajaj also something that but I spent like 20 years in strategy consulting, so for me these things are natural. I spoke to drivers of Bajajs. I understand the distance that they travel. It's not big, actually. So you don't need that big battery. So if you have like place in the center that have rechargeable batteries, it will be okay for most of the things that Bajajs is doing. But you will have it connected to the electricity.
Yeah.
And there are many things like that. So like look at the local situation and think about what's working in the local situation for the people who live there. And so this is the biggest thing that I believe might be sometimes lacking. And when I don't know, I receive on LinkedIn, I see like the gatherings of the startup people in Ethiopia, in Addis, and I don't see that much conversation about low technology, about like no technology, what we can do for like, I don't know, for avocados to be processed locally, what we can do in this or that, what we can do to help old ladies with the eye problems. There are a lot of opportunities, and there is good chance that there is much more money and much more business and much more energy in the things that are much more low tech. So just
Okay. That's very interesting because there was this UNDP program that sponsored innovators from all over the world, and one of them was like you said earlier, was they were converting the Bajajs, the fuel Bajajs into electric Bajajs, and that was like a proper full-blown service where they took them in, swapped them out, and they were doing the customer service, the follow through, doing the maintenance and everything with them. So that was interesting to see. And then there was this other company doing in Latin America, I forgot which country, but they were collecting used batteries, putting them together to make like big battery cells. So that could be used for the home in case like there's a power outage. They could use that for the home. They could use that to replace the fuel cell in the electric car. So it was very fascinating to see that. So I actually do agree with you that local entrepreneurs have to step out of Addis Ababa because Addis Ababa is just a one of a kind. It's kind of an oasis in a country that's missing a lot of solutions for its people. So I do agree that they have to step out of Addis. They have to look into low-tech solutions, and they have to just be closer to where the people are. I think that's the main thing that I would take away from this. All right. So I think in conclusion, I mean, for one of our last questions, it was a very fascinating discussion, by the way. Like, I think I spent most of the time not talking because I was just very attentive to what you were saying.
it's very Ethiopian of you.
No, I'm very non-Ethiopian. I mean, like, if I want to intervene, I will intervene. But I was very fascinated by what you were saying. So, what would you say is I'm kind of leveraging your experience here. So, what would you say should be our next step in growing the startup ecosystem in Ethiopia?
If there is any opportunity, and I hope it is, I am not that much close to what's going on politically, and sometimes big reforms they need to be executed at the moment when the politicians are safe and they feel themselves safe. But if that moment will come as soon as possible, like days, weeks, huge economic reform, not for startups specifically, but just like do everything, just remove all the barriers that exist. And very obvious one is like this business licensing. Just destroy that. like
Simplify
reporting.
it, maybe.
We don't have, like in Israel, there is no business license.
Really?
In America,
How does it work?
you start your company. No. There are two things: registration of the new company
Uh-huh.
and license. And in Ethiopia, it's two different steps.
Uh-huh.
You register the company.
And then you
Only when you, right after, you have to choose the license, and that will be the only activity that is permitted to you. In many countries, the civil code says that enterprise can do whatever it wants, if not creating, like employing chemical engineers to creating bombs, like every legal thing that is permitted by. So registration means automatically getting business licenses for everything. And why it should be like in some other way? Because in the because I didn't like think that we will talk on that specific. Maybe something in me feels this way, because also when you have like this business licensing, it means that you need to have like a million bureaucrats who will be watching if the company is doing exactly what is in this business license. Because what if you don't have business license to sell shoes, and you started to sell shoes?
And then I'm shut
we
down.
Probably should kill you.
I'm shut down.
Yeah, absolutely. We should do something with you.
Yeah.
So just remove that. Does not exist in France. It should not exist in Ethiopia. There is no reason. That and reporting and all these requirements. Like if you register the company in France, if it's small business, you probably report electronically once a year on your taxes, and that's it. You don't do like, I believe here it's like either monthly or bi-monthly reporting.
Yeah, it depends
And
on your
you also
business
need
type,
to have like the accountant, because your report should be signed by a person who got the education. If you have small business, and most businesses are small, look at what we see around, like the size of the businesses.
Yeah.
Well, even many banks here have like less sales than McDonald's in a small American town, and this McDonald's like files it taxes like once a year, and banks are probably doing this every day because that's how banking system works. I'm talking like simplify. I'm not talking about like remove the banking regulation. I have own reason, and they should be very tight. But for general businesses, it's not about startups. What I'm saying, I'm trying to say that make everyone that is like business in the beginning, make it very easy for them. For businesses that are bigger, like, well, think about the steps.
Ask for more requirements, that would be normal. If, like, as you were saying, for small businesses, make it easy to start and to get into making money, making revenue, paying taxes. For bigger companies, maybe add more requirements. Like maybe ask, okay, what is your domain of what sector are you practicing in, or what?
I would say mostly it's usually it's more about accounting requirements, because limitations with the sectors. I really don't know any like successful economy that has anything. There's no restriction, and for some reason, even like in Russia after the collapse of the Soviet Union, we never had this thing with the business licensing. So. Because like Russia initially, like when the market economy in Russia started, Russia was so closely following every step that IFC wrote. It was very, very, very disciplined implementation of the free market reform. Something that like a lot of intellectuals here are saying that like evil, but don't think it's true. Why
are they saying it's evil?
Oh, that's a very different conversation about the values, about what our country stands for, that we did this for 3,000 years, so we shall do it like for next 10,000 years until we will all die, etc.
Oh, yeah.
It's
extreme hardcore discipline, okay.
But that is something that I believe like 80%, 60% at least. Well, judging by my LinkedIn, like 70%, 80%, follow. Yeah, so do not look at startups as some different animals. All small animals are the same. Whether it's like high tech or if it's like just person growing the, I don't know, avocado on the 1 hectare, small, or like 10 hectares, but very small business. Look at this, treat them the same way. And then startups will also prosper because those companies will grow up. In free market economy, companies will grow up, and companies that are on a competitive market, they are buying startups because you have to be on the competitive market. If you're a state-owned company, you have zero incentive. If there is any idea that like Ethiopian airline, if Ethiopian airline think that something is a good idea, they'd rather build like department of this good idea and hire people to it than buy company from the market. Why they need this? It's more expensive probably because usually companies are buying startups because they want to save time.
Yeah.
They pay a little bit more or much more, but they save time because they got the ready-made team.
Yeah.
And large government organizations hate this because they need people very disciplined. So they need them to grow up in their system, and they need people who know that the whole life of these people depends on the decisions of. And that's not how startups work. So only development of the free economy will improve number of the buyers of the technology startups. Only more buyers, more investors are willing to buy it at the moment and sell later. So all this like works together. There is certainly, that's a right word, ecosystem. And I will be probably the last person to say that's a bad word. But it doesn't look exactly how governments tend to look at this.
In order for not just startups but for companies to thrive, the free market has to be there, has to have the players and also the companies and the investors in it so that it can be a fully functional system.
Yeah, it's very hard to imitate free market. That's what China is trying to do all the time, like having like something that will imitate free market but not be free market, because free market brings free thinkers, free market brings like free political forces, and that's and Chinese Communist Party cannot afford it, obviously. So they have this illusion and this imitation, and we see a result of that every day, like number of the electric car companies that you see on the street is a result exactly of this game, and that game is played, if I will like a little bit more details that may help a little bit, like why so many brands of the Chinese cars. And what you have here is even like less than, I don't know, 10%. You go on YouTube, you can see the Chinese exhibitions of the cars and how many brands are represented there, and that's like tens and tens and tens of the brands. And the reason is very simple. There is the competition between the regional committees of the Communist Party of China, who will build the best electric car company. So every city committee of the Communist Party will try to have their own. And as they have power over local banks, all banks in China are government owned, and people in the like party bosses can full control over that, or maybe partial, I don't know. And also they have control over what is purchased by the city administration. For example, BYD, great company. I believe 100,000 electric buses was what was ordered by the city, I believe it's city of Shanghai, that started that company. So on one hand, they initiate a huge buy of the products.
Yeah.
And then like BYD was also bought by local police, and then it was bought by the army because they had some connections, etc., etc. And then you push your local banks, because they're also government owned, to finance this company. And then you got like huge scale, and scale brings down cost. And while BYD is like very respectful company, they are in the energy storage, they are very advanced. But does the world need 100 brands of the Chinese car? Does China need 100 brands of Chinese car? No. We have that experiment. That experiment worked interestingly in solar panels. Again, there are like hundreds of the brands of the solar panels. That was previously the love of the Communist Party of China. Every city should have their own like manufacturer of the solar panels. Well, everything that I'm telling you like this stories because one probably it's interesting to see like why there are so many. But another thing is like you don't imitate the market. And like what happened with the solar panels? Solar panels now are extremely cheap. The profit that the Chinese companies are making, like from the components to the panel, is considered to be like 5 to 7%. That is actually like why I am very sad every time when I hear about the idea of the local assembly of the solar panels. If you bring all the components here and develop the solar panels, there is no chance in the world that you will fit all your like investment into the 5% profit. You probably will have like 50% profit. So you certainly will make solar panels much more expensive than Chinese panels. It's just math. It's just math. But what the whole story is about the like you do not imitate free market forces. They also did it even before the solar panels. They did it with real estate. Every city was ordered to build a lot of real estate because population is growing, etc. What we have today, and for 10 years in China, we have huge crisis with this real estate. They built so much more that anyone needs, and that is like they imitated.
It's created ghost cities.
That's something that we all see because like even Chinese Communist Party cannot like hide this. That means like you do not substitute free market. Well, unless Communist Party, Chinese Communist Party have the reason they want to exist. They don't want to be killed. All of them. They want to be in a power. So for them, it's like existence, fight for existence. But if you don't see yourself like fighting for existence, or if you think that your existence is free market economy, then you don't imitate those things. And building like a very special section of the economy that will work at the normal rules, but others not, it's all imitation. I would say like not play imitation game, but that is like on the level of the policy. On the level of startups, just be realistic, look around, work with the customers, and never make like incentives that can be created like today morning, just for the like government policies or something. Never make those incentives a rule of what you are doing, because long-term incentives are not that important. Today maybe it's good, you will buy a new car because you got some grant or something, but long-term, no, it will substitute your market intelligence. You will not do what people need, you will do what the people in some committee will need, and that is not long-term. So everything about the like developing innovation in a country, it's usually done naturally, and substitution of any like government initiatives substitute to the free market is not working. That's what I will say.
Okay. I think that's a very, very excellent way to wrap up this interview. Unfortunately, this is all the time that we have. So, Mikhail, thank you so much for giving me this time. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed your stay in Addis. I think you have a few more days left before your departure.
I do.
Do you have any plans to
Oh,
enjoy?
yeah, I have very short-term plans.
Yeah?
Very short-term
To enjoy
plans.
Addis? Because there's a lot of
The
new
place
things,
I want to enjoy is a couple-minute walk from here.
Okay,
That's
okay.
my biggest plan.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. I hope you have a great time. And once again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, and hope it was helpful.
It was
to
very
everyone.
insightful. It was very insightful.
So,
Yeah, thank you. All right. ራይዝ አዲስ ቤተሰብ የዛሬ ኢንተርቪዋችን ይሄን ይመስላል። It's a wrap. Bye.